Hello and welcome back to the Yarn Hoarders Crafting Podcast. My name is Sasha and this is day 9 and 10 of the 12 Cast Ons 2026. This is a make-along hosted by Angela from the Yarn and Yarns YouTube channel. You will find her channel and her introduction video linked in the description box below, as well as any patterns and yarns that I talk about here today. And yeah, as I said, this is days 9 and 10. So I haven't technically started day 10 yet. This is kind of the intro for that. I have actually done day 9. Unfortunately, when I did day 9, I was at the very beginning of quite a nasty endometriosis flare-up, and the footage I got for the intro kind of showed that I was not at my best. I was in a lot of pain, and I eventually ended up having to take some quite strong painkillers and spent most of the rest of the day in bed. And then the next 3 or 4 days after that also in bed. So I'm going to start by talking about day 9. There's not a ton to show for day 9. So it's mostly going to be talking about the yarn, the pattern, and like that much that I managed to do. So day 9. I will show you the amazing amount of progress that I got done for that first, before I tell you about the yarn and the pattern. I managed this much. So this, for the start, I don't think I'm going to give too much away for this pattern, and you'll see why shortly, but this is 6 rows of garter stitch. Yeah, I managed to cast on and do 6 rows of garter stitch. I apologise. I live in England, in the West Midlands. It's currently very grey and raining and dark, and you wouldn't know that it's 10 o'clock in the morning. And the only lights I have are very yellow, so I will hopefully get a bit of better pictures of this so that the colours are a bit more accurate later, but yeah. I managed 6 rows of garter stitch, and that's an ambulance going past. So yeah, I also ended up having to pinch the needles off this again to finish a different project, but they are back in the bag. I just haven't put them back on. Yeah, so this is what I managed on my first day of working on this. 6 rows of garter stitch. And the yarn I'm using for this is, can I get, that's a bit more colour accurate, but you can't really see the variation in it. That's very blown out. This is going to be a bit crinkly, I'm sorry. I have a pack of this, which I bought from the Christmas craft show at the NEC, either in 2022 or 2023, so this is either 3 or 4 years old. It is also the oldest yarn in my stash. So if you watch the Stash Down Diaries, this would probably count as part of her elder stash, but yeah. So it is Rowan Valley Tweed in Janet's Foss, which is shade number 00110. And I'm pretty sure this is a discontinued yarn, because I originally had picked out, well, there's a bit of a long story of how I ended up picking what I've cast on, but I originally had 2 colourwork patterns picked out for this yarn, and I decided to go and have a look to buy probably a skein or 2 to act as a contrast colour, and pretty much everywhere that has any of this left in stock has just the dark colours, which wouldn't act as a decent enough contrast for this, which is a very blue-green colour. I think it leans slightly more green than blue, with like some brown running through it. So I'd originally picked out 2 colourwork patterns, And I was like, I'm going to see if I can get sort of either a red, like a nice bright red, or a cream colour to go with it. Can't find that anywhere. I suppose if I looked on Ravelry, I might have been able to find some, but yeah. So ended up having to give up on that when I couldn't find any. The other thing is, I'd originally picked a pattern, a colourwork pattern that I really liked, really nice. You know, I had it saved, I kept thinking about it. I hadn't looked to see if it was available as an individual pattern. It's only available as part of a book. And, you know, I think patterns are quite fairly priced. You know, I'm not fussed about paying for a pattern. However, the idea of paying £35 for a book where I only actually liked one pattern in it was a little bit difficult for me to justify. So in the end, I had to give up on the colour work with that. If I looked, I probably could find something similar and I bought that, but in the end, I decided to settle on just one colour cardigan, which has a lacy yoke, and I settled on, this was a pattern that I'd had favourited for actually quite a while, so I'm not upset that I had to like change directions. You know, it happens. Like I can always come back to a colourwork pattern later on down the line when I can get a decent quantity in one go, so that I'm not there 3 to 4 years after buying the yarn going, oh dear, it's discontinued. But the pattern I have settled on, or have cast on, is, there is no details on this. This is literally the front of the pattern page. It is the In Between Dreams cardigan by Maiju. It will be written here. Oh, sorry, there's another ambulance that's just shot past. Which, I hope it hasn't been an accident up the road, because yeah, it's not often you get 2 ambulances that shoot up the road, one after the other. So, anyway, I think this is a Japanese designer, so I do apologise if I messed up that name. It will be written down here. But this is a lacework cardigan. I will put a pattern picture up here that's more focused, more zoomed in, so you can actually see the nice lace pattern. Which, if you can see that, you can see why I only managed the first 6 rows of garter stitch before I got into the short rows with lace, because trying to do that when you're in horrific amounts of pain and on some very strong painkillers and going a bit woo, not the best of ideas. I would have had to have ripped it back, and I hate ripping back lace. I know I could use a lifeline, but like I said, I'm excited to have this. I think this is going to look lovely. The joys of this is it is also top down, so I can make it as long as I have yarn for. I will also say, because it's me, this is a sport weight pattern. I'm using fingering weights, so I have gone down a 1/4 millimetre size, but I've gone up a pattern size for my to make sure it fits me. It should be fine. When I first picked this out, before I realised it was a sport weight pattern, I'd already decided to go with a little bit more positive ease anyway. But yeah, that was cast on at day 9. It's a staggering amount of progress, I know. I hope I didn't knock your socks off with it. But thankfully I am now mostly over the worst part of this flare-up. So I can go back to focusing on some more stuff. I actually managed to finish, spoiler alert, I finished the Jones cardigan with all the cables, which is why this is going up on Friday instead of the podcast, because I have one project to show at time of recording and it's currently blocking, so I wouldn't even get to show that. But now I shall move on to my day 10, which I'm hoping to get some footage throughout the day of this. I don't have tons I need to do today. I spent most of yesterday catching up on everything I needed to do. So we are on to day 10. Oh, sorry, I'm just tidying up the stuff. But day 10, this is going to be quite a simple project. At time of recording, we have plans to go on a nice summer holiday this year, hopefully somewhere with a bit of sun and a beach. And I want a t-shirt that I could kind of just throw on over a summer dress in the evenings, or I can put on over my bikini while walking to the beach. So I am going to be casting on a Tulster tee. This was designed by Rebecca Clow of the Cray Bear Knitting Podcast here on YouTube. I have made this pattern 2 or 3 times already. It's just a really simple, nice t-shirt pattern. Comes in both fingering and DK. It also comes with bust shaping, which is very helpful for someone who has quite a narrow-ish chest but a large bust line. And as I said, it's basic. It's just a basic raglan t-shirt pattern, which is what I'm after, and mostly as well because I kind of just want to let the yarn do the talking for this one. So I will be using Creative Anarchy in her Borges colourway? No, colourway, Borges base, which is an 80% superwash merino, 20% silk high twist yarn. This very pinky purple colour is Was He Slow? And I got this from the Christmas wool show in Birmingham in 2025. This was a gift technically by my partner. He bought this for me. And as I only have 2 skeins of this, I decided to put with it the leftovers from a different project which also used Creative Anarchy Borges, which is this very purpley, bluey, greeny, black, very variegated colourway. And this is the colourway Hot Springs. So I think this will work quite well with this. This will be the ribbing on all of the finishings, so the neckline, the short sleeves and the bottom. I also plan on doing the short row shaping with this because I think it'll be easier to hide the short rows in this colour than this colour. So, and it's trying to fall apart. So, yeah, this is going to be a very sort of summer knit, lightweight, easy to throw on and off, and depending on how long it is, it might be quite wearable every day. I'm just going to use this until I basically run out of yarn. If it's cropped, it's cropped. If it's not, it's not. I'm not too fussed. It's only going to be quite short sleeves anyway. I will probably, once I separate like the sleeves from the main body, I will probably like literally just knit 2 or 3 rounds and then add the ribbing to it. So that is the plan for day 10. So I will start with this, which also means I don't have to wind this up just yet. So we'll see if I can get through the ribbing and the short rows today. As I said, I don't have tons I need to do today, so hopefully I can get a good amount of this done. We shall see if I get around to winding one of these today. I will probably wind one today anyway, but we'll see if I get to that. Yeah, it's a very grey day, so I don't think I'll be doing much leaving of the house. But if I do, I might take you with me. I can't imagine that I will. It would be nice, now that I am back out of bed and able to move around and stuff, to be able to go out for a nice long walk. That's not going to happen. I'm not going out in the absolutely chucking it down with rain. Oh my gosh. But I will catch up with you in a bit. Hello, it is just after 1 o'clock. I don't know if you could tell by my glasses, but I braved the outside world. I went for a 20-minute walk around the block in the rain. It was horrible, it was miserable. And now I am cozied up on the sofa with a nice, very, very hot cup of tea. And I am going to work away on this. I haven't actually got much done, mostly because I started it, realised it was twisted and tinked back, so, but I'll talk about more about that in the outro. But I think I'm going to watch a bit of The Gilded Age and relax and chill. I have nothing to do now until I have to cook dinner tonight. If you heard that, that was my partner sneezing in the other room. And I shall catch you in a bit. Oh god, that lighting is terrible. I've left my light elsewhere, but there will be more after this. I have progressed quite a long way, actually. I'm quite surprised at how quick this is working up. But then I suppose when you're having a lazy day, it would progress quite quickly. Anyway, I have finished the ribbing, finished the short rows, and started on the main colour and working down and starting my way through the raglan increases. So, yes. I'm now, however, going to have to take a break for the next sort of 2 hours to go and make dinner, because apparently you have to feed your partner every day. I think that's a little bit unfair. I think he should only be fed every other day, but... Anyway, I am going to go and cook dinner, and then we shall see how far I get on this tonight. There might be another update tonight. It might end up being at the outro that I will record tomorrow morning. So I will catch you in a bit. Hello, it is the next day, as I said it probably would be when I do the outro. And I have made a decent amount of progress on my Tolster tea. I should go over the details one last time. So I am making the Tolster Tea by Rebecca Clow from the Create Their Knitting podcast. This is a very multi-purpose pattern, very blank canvas with, it's very size inclusive and also comes with bust shaping, which is very good for somebody who has quite narrow top and bottom but very large, as some people say, and I am using, come here, there we go, I am using the Creative Anarchy. I am very sorry about having to use my very orange light again. It's another grey, miserable, dreary day here in the UK, as January usually is. And I got a fairly decent amount of progress on this, but I will say I didn't really do much yesterday other than knit. I'm still recovering from my severe flare-up and didn't have tons to do anyway, so I have, let's see if I can, so I'm making these size 4 with F cup shaping. I did 10 rows of 1x1 ribbing and all of the short rows in the colourway Hot Springs. This is blowing out quite significantly. This is more of a kind of oil spill kind of colour, black with like greens and blues and purples running through it. There's also a little bit of orange. There's the occasional orange stitch in here. And then the pinky purple. It's more of a purple than a pink in real life, but I think this is showing up not very colour accurate on here. In the Was He Slow colourway. It's very bunched up because I thought I had a longer cord. I don't have a longer cord. This is the longest cord I've got free. So, anybody who knows this pattern is aware that it's a raglan basically, which means I decided for a decorative detail I am doing eyelets on the raglan. But if you know this pattern, you know that at a certain point you start adding extra increases on the front to account for the bust shaping, which took me way too long to work out. And that's another ambulance. Which, to avoid having too many eyelets on the front, I didn't want it to look too holy. Like, I liked the set raglan increases. So I ended up adding in make one left, make one right, in a slightly different place, like a couple of stitches in, at the rate it says, so that it's not, it doesn't look, the raglan still looks, it still has the set look around all points. So I think I am roughly halfway through the raglan increases at this point. As I said, I didn't really do much other than knit yesterday, so which is good because I finally managed to catch up on some Vlogmases. It's only coming up to the end of January and I'm still not fully caught up, but so yep. I am knitting this on 3.5mm and I did the ribbing in 3mm. So that is how far I've got on day 10 of the cast-ons. I would also like to say I've not been keeping up with replying to comments on some of my videos. I have hearted them to show that I have read them. Sometimes, especially at the moment with flare up, I don't always have the mental capacity to come up with a response. So if I haven't responded to your comment, I do apologise. I have read it. I do appreciate every single comment. And yeah, so that was day 10 of cast-ons, and of course I put day 9 at the beginning as well. I hope you enjoyed this episode. There should be day 11 next week on Monday, I hope, if I get a chance to do that today. And then the final one, I'm thinking of having my day 12 cast on come out on the last day of January, which is a Saturday, but we shall see. We shall see when I get round to doing it and editing it, because it looks like I'm going to have a very busy week again. So, kind of happens when you spend almost a week in bed, unable to do anything. You suddenly find you've got a lot of stuff to catch up on. But I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope you'll follow along for my next cast on. And I will catch you later. Bye, guys.